or here when I'm recording this. So, with the start of December, I always do a bunch of planning. Now, I've already done some planning in advance, but I spend December planning for my business for the next year. And so I wanted to drop in here and chat briefly about it. So, if you don't know me, I'm Bobby Klink. I'm the guy behind BobbyKlink.com. And what I wanted to come in here and talk about is how I go about planning my year, because I think we as entrepreneurs need to be intentional about what we're doing, about how we're doing it, and making sure that we have a plan. Now, a lot of times, candidly, we don't end up sticking to our plans, and that's okay. I had a plan for this year that I don't want to say it went out the window entirely, but a lot of the things didn't happen the way I anticipated they would happen. And so things change, and that's cool. But I do believe that we should have a plan, because having a plan allows us to kind of know where we're going. And so I want to talk about the process that I go through to do that. Now, I'm not going to go into huge depth because I've got some things coming up that'll help you with that, but I wanted to kind of give a 30,000 foot view of things. The first thing I do in planning my year is I set my goals. And my goals, candidly, start with the financial goals. How much revenue do I want to make in 2020? And, you need to be realistic, but I also want to say this. I always say to people, if you actually reach your goal was not high enough. In other words, I try to set a goal that I probably won't hit. Because if I set a goal that is reachable, that I'm not going to have trouble getting to, then it doesn't force me to actually grow and do the work. So I want to set a goal that forces me to try to go too far. Now, for some people, that doesn't work. I know there are some people who, for example, if they're not going to hit the goal, they just kind of would give up, and it would be demoralizing. If that's you, set a goal you can actually make. But I would set a good, better, and best, and make the good one that you think is reachable. But I want you to really set goals that will stretch you, because I think that's beneficial. And so I start there. What is the overall number I want to hit? Then from there, I say, okay, how am I going to get there? And by how at this point, I'm talking at very high level of thinking through the different products and or services I offer, and what will the revenue breakdown be between those various products and services. So in my case, I've got the legal templates on one side. That is a very defined group. Then I've got my Fans First Society membership. Okay, that's another thing. Now I just launched this group coaching, so that's a third product. And then I leave some room because I do affiliate promotions. Last year, I did one affiliate promotion, or sorry, not last year. This year, I did one. Next year, I anticipate doing 2 big affiliate promotions. So I map that out and set what the goals are within each of those. Now, I like to say that you need to expect there will be a little bit of magic. And so what I mean by that is, if when you plan it all out, you're like 10% below your goal, that's okay, because hopefully you'll have some magic come from somewhere. But the point is that, let's say your goal is to make $250,000 in revenue this year, but when you map out goals for the individual products, you only get to $100,000. That's not going to work, right? I mean, you have to set, there has to be a small enough gap between the individual specific plans and your overall goal to know that you can actually reach it. So that's kind of the first piece. Then once you've done that, what I do is I go about setting out, okay, how am I going to go about making the sales to get to those numbers? And that means creating my promo calendar. And my promo calendar is very simple. I start with affiliate promotions, because once I decide that I'm going to be an affiliate for a product, I'm like, I know I'm going to go all in on those. So I put those in the calendar and block those out, because I'm not going to promote my own stuff at the same time that I'm promoting something as an affiliate. Now, some people with bigger lists, I know, will end up doing things where they, will promote multiple affiliate things at once, or an affiliate thing and theirs. I don't do that, because my list isn't huge. And if I were doing that, I would burn out my list way too quickly. And candidly, I don't want to do a ton of affiliate promotions and other things. But the point is, do the things that you cannot move, that you can't control, on your calendar first. Then around that, what you're going to do is go and set out the things that you do control. If you're using a launch model, you need to schedule your launches in because you need to know when those are happening in the year. Because all of these promos and when all the different promotions are happening affects a lot of the other things that you're going to do in your business, including your content, including, if you have to get team on board, including if you have to get software, all of those things, are going to happen around your promo schedule. It could be that you're going to have to hire a Facebook ads person. Depending on where you are in your business, you've got to plan all that out in advance so that you can get the most bang for your buck. And so that's the next thing I do. Now, my case is a bit different because I don't do true launches anymore. I've gone away from the launch model, and instead I have evergreen model, not even a traditional evergreen model. I do a workshop every single month, a paid workshop, but people can get it for free by joining my membership, the Fans First Society, and they can do a trial and all of those different things. So that's how I promote things. That's my promo schedule. So with me, my promo schedule, I put the big affiliate launches down, and then I've mapped out the 12 monthly workshops I'm doing next year in 2020, and I've put them down on a calendar so I can look at my calendar and see what's happening throughout the year. From there, then I start thinking through, okay, what do we need to be doing in terms of content around those promos and launches? And I want to be clear on this. Your content should relate to whatever you're promoting, to whatever you're asking people to buy. And it just makes sense, right? If you're going to, for example, in a podcast, if you're going to say, hey, sign up for my webinar, hey, sign up for my whatever it is, you need to make sure that the content, and I say that, you can do it even if the content doesn't relate, but if the content of the podcast, for example, relates to exactly what you're trying to promote, it is a natural, hey, if you want to go deeper on this, join me for my free masterclass coming up on blah, 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 blah. Or in my case, if this is interesting, if you want to go deeper on this, join me on my paid workshop, and you can find out more by going to. And those things make it seamless, make it easy, and it just makes for a better experience for your people. So I do all of that. So I plan out my promotions, then I plan out my content, and then I start filling in gaps. And I should mention a couple of other things. I put all of my travel out that I know about because, for example, I'm in a mastermind. So that means 3 different times a year I'm traveling for that. I know I've got a couple of boot camps or kind of intensive workshops I'm going to next year. Those are on the calendar. I've got some travel with my family that we've already scheduled. We haven't necessarily booked it, but have scheduled. I've put that on my calendar. And I do all of this because when you have it all mapped out, that's when you can start to get ahead. And my goal, candidly, is to start being 2 months ahead on my content so that I don't have a pressing moment at any point during my next year. So that's what I'm doing to plan out my year. I would love to hear what you're doing. How are you going about planning your 2020? What are the steps you're taking? And how do you go about doing that? Drop a comment here. Just let me know how you are, how you're planning your content. What is the process you use? Do you do it on site? Do you work with somebody? I'd love to hear it because I'm always trying to improve my own process. So I'd love to hear what you're doing. And maybe I'll put it into my business. But regardless of whether you have a system already, what I would tell you is get planning. Start creating your plan for 2020 and you will be much better off. That's it for today. I'll talk to you later.